Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry. We are wrapping up the Spanish Tech Tree cruiser line, the upcoming one, which is currently in early access, with the Tier 8, the Cataluña. If you've missed the Tier 10 review, you probably may want to watch that first, but if you want to go the other way around, that's fine by me. To answer the question of are the Tier 8, are the Tier 9 and 10s worth it? The answer is a resounding no from my side. Except for the meme value of being able to obliterate cruisers in certain instances, they are relatively useless in my opinion. But the Tier 7 cruiser being an excellent ship for her tier, which it brings us to the final question: is the Tier 8 where you should stop the line, or is it Tier 7? So, Cataluña, a more standard design with 203mm guns, and actually one of the designs that Ansaldo came up in Italy after the Spanish Civil War, and Spain had asked for assistance with designing a couple new cruisers. There were two designs with 203mm guns, one with 3 turrets, one with 4 turrets, or 2 with 3 turrets. There was one design with 4 turrets, but it could have been 150mm. I'm not 100% certain. I've looked at the whatever passed for blueprints a while back, but anyway, this is one of them, and this is the more rational standard cruiser design, 3 triple turrets, 203mm, never built because, well, never gotten around to it. So let's compare her, obviously, to her predecessor and see how she matches up once the comparison window actually opens. This is the problem when you have about 1 million ships in the shipyard on a press account. Cataluña versus Asturias at Tier 7. We get a linear progression of ship skills. We get a better defensive AA, but we lose 1 charge. And we get a better sonar. We've still got the burst fire with 24-second penalty after firing, which is 2 seconds longer than the burst fire on the Tier 7. So we do lose out a little bit here. But let's compare the rest. The hull is all in all a little sturdier, and probably also sturdier than the Tier 10. The maneuverability isn't great, but these things are not known for their maneuverability. They are known to be quick. And usually quick and maneuverable are sort of opposites, so ships this size. So 12.6 second turn time, that's battleship level. So it really doesn't want to go in circles, this thing. But let's look at the guns, because that's really where it's all about. Three triple guns, 3 triple turrets, technically the exact same guns, but obviously since we've been up-tiered, we interestingly lost a second base reload, but we gained a bit of range, and the shells are doing ever so slightly better. The HE has been improved, but you very rarely use the HE on these ships. Most of the time you'll be firing the armor piercing. So the guns are, I would say, actually the same guns that you have on Tier 7, with the 1 second slower base reload. The 2 point extra damage on the armor piercing is not making any difference really, and the extra range is nice, but also it's not that much. Torpedoes are the same pretty much. We get a little bit of gain a little bit of damage, but we lose a bit of reload. So again, I'd say exactly the same as Tier 7. And the AA is a bit better, but it's still completely useless, especially that you're now at Tier 8. And the concealment is a tick better. So this is a really interesting ship, because I would say that is an Asturias. That is a Tier 7 ship, but just up-tiered. And in effect, it's the same ship, just a tier higher. And they even look the same. The only difference really is that the Tier 7 has the balanced gun layout, which means you do have to give a bit more broadside if you want to get all guns on target. Whereas the Cataluña allows you to go bow in and only use the forward guns. But that's, for me, I would say, really the only difference between the two. The rest is pretty much the same, which makes this a tall order. Because while the Asturias at Tier 7 was absolutely excellent, if we're having pretty much the same ship with only marginal differences at tier 8, and the biggest difference being a different gun layout, that is a relatively tall order. But let's look at the setup. You get the choice between improving your armor. It's not actually improving the armor, at least I think it isn't. It's only improving the armor stats, which on a cruiser does. Even on a battleship, you usually wouldn't be choosing this one, but instead we get the much needed main battery traverse speed. You have the choice between the historical camouflage, which is your standard, let's just slap a flag on everything, and that is pretty much what Spain apparently did. So this is not a wartime camo, which gives you range, useless torpedo damage reduction, useless large caliber AA range, and max traverse speed, which is kind of okay. So the 4% main battery firing range is really the only thing that matters here. You can also get the wobbly dragon camo, which makes the ship look a bit, well, like that, which is arguably the better camo, which again, as usual, I find unfortunate, but this gives us range dispersion and at least range on both on the AAs. Not that the AA makes any difference, so it's still not a good camo. It's just a little bit better than the... so I would rate the historical camo 1 out of 4 and this one 2 out of 4 pretty much. So regardless, we are going to use the historical camo just because. And equipment. I've been a little torn here because so in tier 7 I would definitely be sailing with steering gear mod because it's tier 7. You get into tier 6 games. It's you don't need the concealment necessarily. In tier 8, this can become a different argument. So you can either choose the steering gear mod 2. With that setup, you are going to get to an 11.3 second turn time, which is still not good. That's with the historical camo's increased max traverse, though. So that's still not good, but it is slightly better than not. The alternative would be to throw that out and to use the concealment system and say screw it. We're bringing the turn time up to 13 seconds. That is because of the increased max traverse. But instead we get a 7.8 kilometer surface detection, which means yes, you can't really turn the ship, but you also don't need to as much because you can be relatively undetected. So I'd say both values are valid. The test games that you'll be seeing have been played with the steering mod, because I do like to play aggressively, and being able to maneuver and compensate for lack of armor in a cruiser is quite crucial for me. But if you are more of a stealthy player, then this is absolutely valid to start using the concealment mod here. In tier 7 I probably wouldn't, but in tier 8 it's definitely worth doing that. Now I've used 2 regular commanders, and I have already sort of spoken my mind on the relative use. I would almost call it malicious. Call it malicious uselessness of the legendary commander for the line in the last video. So I'll just give you the very short summary of it. Why Victorious Charge if it's not an HP tank? Because you get Daredevil Plus, which you don't really need. Instead, you wanted Survivalist. You get Fully Prepared Plus, but you don't have an extra heal. You're in an AA ship without the... Well, you're not, because the AA is dreadful. But you're in something that gets advanced FAA skills, at least, but you're not getting the Air Defense Expert Plus, which could have maybe alleviated that problem to a little degree. Instead, and then you get Adrenaline Rush, which isn't bad, but you're missing out on Extinguisher, which for an AA ship is quite useful. So, and then you get the Horizontal Protection Expert Plus, which for a cruiser is completely useless, in my opinion. We should have been given the Giant Hunter, or actually a Citadel Strike Plus, given that the sole purpose of these things is to AP slap light cruisers into oblivion, and for that it's pretty good. So I would have taken either of the 2 over this one. The only reason you really want to have the Legendary Commander is the APCS Plus, because it makes your shells really that much better. Now, like I said, Adrenaline Rush not completely terrible, the rest kind of useless, so a bit meh. If there is ever an epic commander with APCS Plus for the Spanish ships, then it's probably better to use than this one. Because I always find it a little iffy to not use the legendary skills. It's like, why am I having it then? Anyway, so 2 battles you will see. One in a regular setup with regular camo and regular consumables and a regular commander at level 8, and one with the fully decked out stick everything money can buy into the ship and see what we can do. The first round is a, what are we at? 4v4 actually. The matchmaker has been extremely aggressive over the weekend when I was testing. So even though there were actually a large number of players in the queue, it would, after 1 or 2 seconds, just throw me in with some bots here. So this is what you get. But you know, these things happen, and not just to me, but to everybody. So we'll include it. We are facing Nagato, Algerie, Shiratsuyu, and a Leberecht Maas on base capture and hourglass. And a couple of bots that we don't really count all that much because, you know, they're not that important. I have said it a couple of times now, Spanish cruisers really are all about the gimmick, but you pay for the gimmick. And tier 8 is starting when the reload after using the burst fire is actually really ramping up. So we're spawning with a bot here. It's really a decent idea to get the ships into position early on, because they are very fast, but don't maneuver very well. So get yourself into a position kind of similar to the Japanese light cruisers. Get yourself into a position from where you can operate. You do have the scout plane. It's still a scout plane 1, not the scout plane 2 that you start seeing at tier 9. But get yourself into a position from where you can make something happen. And this map isn't the biggest map in the world. So with the scout plane up, I can start with being hidden behind this island. I can start unloading some things. And this is, I think, the Nagato from the looks of it. So let's inch a little bit forward, wait a little bit longer until we get the scout plane up, and then just start unloading at it. And there's also the Algerie. So Algerie is priority target because cruiser wouldn't have needed the scout plane for that one. But let's see if we can... I think he's slightly turning in, but he can't really. There's an island in the way. So there's also Shiratsuyu out there, but Algerie is kind of my priority target because Tashkent on my team is about to run into him, and you don't want to run into an Algerie. Sonar up, just and yeah, that's what these guns can do. This isn't even with APCS Plus or APCS for that matter. Okay, fully broadsiding Algerie. We're gonna get 2 salvos out while the reload is happening, and that was unfortunate. That should have been a double with APCS. It probably would have been a double or triple citadel, and that Algerie would have been toast. Or if we had been a little bit closer. Now he is coming in way too aggressive. So torpedoes out, and then unfortunately the sonar is just coming off going on cooldown, but doesn't matter. He's fluffed his torpedoes. Again, double shot out with the APCS skill. That would have been a dead Algerie, but as it stands, he gets some torpedoes on target, but it doesn't help him. And this is the difference between this and the tier 7. You can actually go bow in when you have to recover some health and other things, and still be somewhat useful. Okay, let's see if we can duck back behind that island again and get undetected. But I think the Albemarle on the left there is going to keep me spotted. So we'll just duke the shots from the Nagato, and the Nagato also now has different problems. As you can see, if you look at the minimap, he's now has got Tashkent problems, so it's likely not going to keep shooting at me, which means we can now go after him. There is a battleship near our capture circle. Might have to keep an eye on that thing. But yeah, the armor piercing on these guns is truly excellent. So he has run into a couple of Tashkent torpedoes, but not as many. Problem that Tashkent is going to reload very quickly. Tashkent's probably got this. And can help out cleaning up that Monarch over here. So shots out just to make sure that thing goes away. There's a bot Albemarle. We had a big gap here in the middle, and there's still 2 destroyers on the enemy team. So I do want to, let's delete the Albemarle, and I think we just found the Leberecht Maas. And where are you going, Leberecht Maas? At this range, you definitely do want to get the high explosive out here, but don't reload while the long post boost is still active, because then that resets. So you have to wait until, yes, like this. You have to wait until your guns are reloaded. Nagato's still alive. Shiratsuyu, let's get a shot out of that thing. disable the double fire. Let's see if we can catch the Shiratsuyu. Ah, just about not. 1 second hit would have done it. But there's still a cruiser in our capture circle. Okay, Shores has taken out Shiratsuyu. So we are going to go after the Leberecht Maas. And we do have to be careful. No, my sonar is on cooldown. So armor piercing away and then over to the high explosive. He knows that I have torpedoes. Yeah, he knows that I have torpedoes. There come the Leberecht Maas torpedoes, so that's why I've stopped already. This was a risky move if he had dropped a little bit later. And now I'm actually using the salvo fire with the high explosive. The problem is, yeah, the high explosive isn't going to cut it. So now I'm on a 24-second reload, and if the Leberecht Maas had actually been keeping his torpedoes a little bit, and instead of trying to do a very obvious salvo on, or maybe using his guns in the meantime, I might actually have been in trouble. But the Tashkent is coming in to help out, and I am again going to try to salvo fire with the armor piercing this time and see if I can aim just a little bit too far back. He is slowing down, torpedoes away. He is slowing down, so sonar up. There come his torpedoes. Again, obvious torpedoes. I should have been spotting these without the sonar, in my opinion, but oh well, there we go. Game's doing itself. Taking one, that is okay. And a couple more shots out from the forward turrets to see if I can finish him off, but now I'm too close and I'm actually over-penetrating with the armor piercing. So against destroyers it's a little tricky sometimes. With the armor piercing you really have to hit them dead center because everything else is just going to over-penetrate, and the dispersion doesn't quite lend itself to that. So you're often better just using the high explosive against destroyers, even though it is pretty questionable. But yeah, that's not a bad round for a tier 8 cruiser, I'd say. And even without APCS, yes, you are going to start collecting citadels on enemy cruisers without too much trouble. In the second round, we are playing Domination on Fault Line in what I think is an all-out tier 8 game, unless I've... No, there's a Nagato and a Karakeolo. Of course, there's a... Why are we having 2 tier 7s and the enemy team gets 2 tier 8s? Go home, matchmaking, you're drunk. 3 tier 7s, we've got a Bolognese as well. Yeah, no, really? Okay. We're facing Shokaku, Vladi, Amagi, Bismarck, DZP, the Black Shimanto and the Benson. Domination on Fault Line. Now, a carrier game, you're in a cruiser, you've got defensive AA, you're not an AA cruiser. You've got some AA, but honestly, it's not great. So don't think that you could play this like something like a Cleveland and actually go plane hunting. That is not a great idea, so better not do that. Really, the sole purpose of these Spanish cruisers is killing enemy cruisers. Okay, A-Cup. Who do I have with me? The Bolognese. We are both very fast ships. He's an Italian, so he's a proper Italian. I am just a design Italian. So watch out. There's probably something behind that ledge there, and we're gonna zoom ahead into the capture circle and see if we can find ourselves something to shoot at. We should be reasonably safe from the battleships in the center because there's a large amount of islands around, and I'm just trying to get my torpedoes in the position where they can reach that ledge. And predictive torpedoes off, and then we are spotted, so full stop and capturing. So there is something here. It's either the destroyer or the Black Shimanto. I think these are the only two that can outspot me because I am not on a concealment build here. Sonar up to see if there are any torpedoes incoming. There's the Vladivostok. Let's get some shots out on that. Oh, it's the Black Shimanto. And he takes how many torpedoes? Just one. Okay, dang it! If I hadn't, there's also a destroyer out there. You see these torpedoes? That's the Benson. So the Benson is out here as well. So we've got Black Shimanto and Benson behind. Bolognese, you want to be careful. There's a Benson probably to your right at this point, and there's a Vladivostok coming. You are going too aggressive in there, my friend. I would love to help you, but if Shimanto is coming out of there, I would gladly blub him aside. Bolognese has seen sense in that and is disengaging now. So, I mean, you've got fuel smoke, I don't. Does he? I think he does. Hello, Mr. Vladivostok, but I also have to be careful not to sit here broadside on. Fortunately, the carrier is on the ball and is hitting the Vladivostok pretty hard. He is perma-flooding. Oh no, maybe he damaconned. So we definitely have to go bow in. And again, this is where the... Ow! This is where the tier 7 is, or the tier 8 is superior, because it's got the guns forward, of course, until they shoot them off. Shimanto obviously has torpedoes away. Don't want to go broadside because Vladi. I do have, however, some support here. Shimanto again got really lucky that he can get away with this, and yes, that's the Benson. I know there's a Benson out there. He's been there the whole game. So he's been sitting behind these islands and is trying to torpedo us in here. But Caracciolo's been on the ball. Unfortunately, that means he's running into Shimanto torpedoes. But the Bolognese has managed to kill the Vladivostok. And there's that Benson out there. Well, unfortunately, it's a destroyer. And I'm not very good against destroyers. To be honest, the Caracciolo is probably better suited, and as is the Bolognese. So I'm just going to get the sonar up for inevitable more black Shimanto torpedoes. Yep, there they come. And yeah, I would love to help against the Benson. Can I get double salvo out? No, I can't. I can't get across the island anymore. So I got a couple of shots in still at the Benson, but now my reload's on. And the Bolognese is going suicidal against the black Shimanto, which is okay probably because he's kind of out of torpedoes. But yeah. With the APCS Plus, I would basically been able to one-shot these things. So let's get the salvo fire up and see if we can make it happen. Shots out. Citadel, dead. Okay, there we go. This is what Spanish cruisers live for. That is the one thing that Spanish cruisers are here for. All right, there is that. Okay, Bolognese, you can take the Benson. You're an Italian cruiser. If you've got semi-armor piercing, this thing's a one-shot kill for you. So just kill it, right? Just kill it. Caracciolo is all the way back there. I have no idea what he's trying to do back there. But I need to. I can't help with the destroyer. We need to go for the Cup, which means that I need to take on a Bismarck. I am full health. I still got 2 heals. And where's Bismarck going? He is going forward, but I'm not yet launching my torpedoes here. I've seen people baiting torpedoes like that. So I'm still going to go a little closer here until I have a better idea. Actually, you know what? I don't need torpedoes because I have salvo fire into the bow section. Badonk and badonk. And I've got the rear turret still. Get that around. Take the shots from the Bismarck. And where's my second? Anyway, we'll drop the torpedoes. It's just the Bismarck secondaries. I can heal that up. And there's the Shokaku. Now here is where I am making a misplay, because I see a Shokaku and I see a D7 Provincian, and I'm like, okay, D7 Provincian, light cruiser, APCS plus, salvo fire out. I'm just gonna delete that thing, and I just overpenetrate with the ZP. And I'm not getting any citadels out of it. So that should have been a dead D7 Provincian if I had any luck with penetration. But what I should have done instead, and what the team's calling out, would be to target Shokaku. And instead I am now saying, nope, I have a D7 Provincian broadsiding. I want that thing dead, and I'm dropping my shots, and again, he gets away with it. So what I should have done here really is to focus on the Shokaku. Also, you see the great amount of planes that I'm shooting down. How many? 2 so far. I'm still trying to kill that D7 Provincian, but Amagi from the other side has killed our Bolognese, which means we're a kill behind now. And I'm on my last heal. Torpedoes out against the Amagi. There come the DZPs, who is trying to get away. And he is obviously going for the Amagi because he is smart, but he has run into an island. So again, I'm trying to salvo fire behind him. Just not managing to. And yeah, Amagi is going to go down to the carrier. Had we focused down the Shokaku, this would probably have, we would have probably had a much better result. But unfortunately, you see a D7 Provincian you want to kill. One torpedo on the Amagi that's behind the island there. And unfortunately it hasn't been enough. Now I would have to we are 150 points behind, so and we're only holding 1 capture circle because somehow nobody has managed to to kill that destroyer, and with that loss, yeah, we didn't really stand a chance. I really don't. The Seven Provincian is cheating. He's protected by he's protected by matchmaking or something. There must be a special game character in there that says the Seven Provincian cannot be citadeled, because this I'm calling bullshit on that. Still 92,000 points of damage, but yes, had I focused on the Shokaku, we still would have lost on points, because the Benson nobody managed to take out the Benson, and he retook the capture circle. But yeah, the Seven Provincian had more luck than should be playing the lottery, to be honest. Still, 4 citadels is kind of a low count if you're fighting enemy cruisers in this ship. But yeah, so is this a good ship at tier 8? If you're in a tier 8 battle, yes. If you start getting into tier 9 battles, it can get a little dicey. It's basically the same ship as in tier 7. For all intents and purposes. And the tier 7 is an amazing ship. This is still a very good ship, but you kind of have to know a little bit what you're doing. Still a very good cruiser to play at tier 8. And honestly, this is where I would draw the line. I would say definitely, if you want to play these ships, definitely up to tier 7, because you get into tier 6 games, and just one-shotting tier 6 light cruisers is hilarious. Tier 8 is still good, still a good ship. Tier 9 is abysmal, and tier 10 is, well, it's I would say it's below average. It's like the Gouden Leo pretty much. So this is very similar to the Dutch line, where I would say tier 8 up to and including tier 8, it's still fun. From there on out, you can skip the rest. So that's my personal opinion. And there we have it, the end of the Spanish cruiser line. And that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time.